It's time to find out what's cooking. Here now is the head chef of the Pemberton Township High School Food Service Program and your host, Tim Baroli.
Hello again. Welcome to What's Cooking. I'm Tim Paroli. Today, we have a show that we are going to show, hopefully, some of your favorites, and that is how to prepare shrimp. We're going to begin by showing you how to prepare shrimp for a shrimp cocktail. Many of you are probably going, and that's a very good reaction because it is one of the most popular ways that we enjoy shrimp. We're going to show you two ways to prepare them. Although we're going to cook them the same way, we are going to peel some first and others we're not going to peel. And you're going to get to see the difference in them and decide for yourself which is best for you. I have found when I am enjoying shrimp, I would rather have all the work done in the kitchen so that when I'm at the table dining, all I have to do is worry about consuming the shrimp. I don't have to worry about the shells or where they're going. So we're going to show you those two ways. We're also going to show you how you can set shrimp up ahead of time if you want to buy them in quantity and put them in the freezer. So the way we're going to show them to you is going to be an economical way for you to prepare shrimp because shrimp are seasonal. Even though we can still buy them throughout the year, the season of shrimp, the price will drop, and many times you will see them on special for 5 pounds, and 5 pounds seems like a lot depending on the size of the shrimp that you buy and what you're going to do with them. So we're going to show you 3 different preparations for shrimp and several different ways with those preparations, and you're going to be able to buy them in quantity, set them up, and put them in the freezer and save. So the first one we're going to show you is how to set shrimp up for cocktail. And all you need is water, salt, vinegar, some onion, pickling spice, and pepper. And we're going to show you what to do with those things once we get set up here. And the first thing that you want to do is you can peel and split just the skin, and we're going to go into that a little further and show that part to you. Or you can leave the shrimp natural. Secondly, we're going to cover them. I have covered them with water, but we're going to cover it with the water and any of the wet ingredients and then all the spices. And we're going to cook them just until they snap. And we're going to show you what that is and how to tell when a shrimp is done when you boil them so that you don't boil them till they're rubbery or boil them till they're mushy. We're going to show you just how to tell them. And what you'll do is when you squeeze them, they're going to snap. And we're going to show you that. And number 4 is we're going to cool these without water. So many times we set up shrimp with a lot of spice and then we run water on it and wash all the flavor off of them. And these shrimp are good either hot or cold. So what we're going to do is we're going to begin. I have a pot here with a little bit of water in it, but we're going to set some of these shrimp without the shell. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to throw the shells right into that pot. So when you see me reaching over like this, the shells are going in the pot. These are the shrimp. The size that I have today are 25-30s. And if you take a look at the shrimp that I have here, I'll take a couple of them out. You'll see that they're pretty uniform in size. Even though they, you'll say, well, gee, one is a little bigger than the others. When you see them sold by the number 25 to 30, that means in a pound of shrimp, there will be 25 to 30 shrimp. So they're going to average 27 to the pound. And this is the size that you're going to get. And if I hold one in my hand, you can see that a 25-30 shrimp is not a real big deal, although they may be bigger than what most of us are used to. These are probably, for you trying them out at home, a most economical size to buy. Because of their smaller size, even though they're not the real tiny or teety shrimp, they're an economical size. They're probably the most popular size of shrimp that is available. So we're going to peel these, and if you close up on the shrimp itself, these are frozen headless shrimp, and you can buy the shrimp with the head on if you're buying them fresh or frozen. However, I don't recommend that unless you're going to be cooking them Cajun style and serving them that way because there is a lot of waste on them. Headless shrimp to peel are very easy. All we do is take and peel them from the leg side right on around to the back, and I'm going to do several of these so you can take a look. We leave the tail section and that last little plate on the shrimp right there, and I'll hold it so you can see it. There we go. And that little tail is still on there. See that? And that's how we're going to do most of our shrimp that we're going to peel them. However, I'm going to show you a way in a little while to expand them, how to expand the shrimp. So we just peel that backwards and take it off. So what I do is I hold it by this tail section, right like that, and that first little joint, the tail and the first joint, and then I can just peel these over. All I'm going to do is just take my hand, and what I'm doing is putting my thumb underneath them and peeling over them, just like that. So then we have shrimp out of the shell, just like that. Now you may be watching me saying, gee, he makes that look awful easy. I can't peel shrimp that fast. But believe me, if you try, this is a pound of shrimp that I have right here. So I have about 27 of these little guys. Once you start, if you learn to do them this way, you'll see that it goes very, very quickly. All you have to do again, hold them by that tail section, just like that, and we peel that off, just like that. Peel them right on around. And once you have these peeled over to the one side, we just grab the legs with my thumb, just like that, and snap them right off. And you'll find that it's easier to peel them all in one section, just like that. Just like that, they're going to come off. So we grab that and slide it over, slide that over, and I just pull them right off. All right, so we got a batch of these done. What I'm doing is mentally counting some of these so I have enough at the end of the show, because I want to make sure that they taste as good as I tell you. So I have those peeled, and we're going to take some of these other ones and we're not going to peel them, so we don't even have to worry about those. But I'm going to move on down to the pot here and set up what most of us call shrimp boil. And what that is just the water that we're going to boil shrimp in. I have some water in there because I wanted to keep my burner on. I'm going to turn that up a little bit. So I've got some water in there now. We're going to put a little bit of vinegar in there because the shrimp meat is mostly protein, and the vinegar is an acid, and that will help tighten or coagulate the shrimp meat itself. So a little bit of vinegar in there. It doesn't matter what kind of vinegar you use. If you like the cider vinegar, it'll give you a little more flavor. And we're going to put just a little white wine in there. That's entirely up to you, the wine. Then we're going to put in some salt. It's not critical the amount of salt that you use. You can put, if you like them real salty, put a lot in. But remember, we're not going to wash these off. So if you are a shrimp aficionado and you want to make sure that all the flavor is in those shrimp, don't put so much in the water because we're not going to wash hardly any of it off. And I'm going to use white pepper, which is ground smaller, and I find a little hotter than the black pepper, and that's going to go right in there. And I put that in there and it disappears right into the water. So I know it's in there. Then I want to show you the pickling spice that we're going to use. This isn't one of those things that I use that you say, gee, I can never find it. Pickling spice can be purchased. I just want to show you what it looks like so that when you're buying a pickling spice, you know what you're using. And it's usually best to buy pickling spice from a very busy store because the bigger the turnover on a pickling spice, the fresher it's going to be. Also, if it's in a well-sealed container. And unless you're going to be using a lot of it, I recommend you buy a small amount at a time. If you take a look at this pickling spice, you'll see that it is full of little bits of broken bay leaf. It also has some hot pepper in there, very tiny ones. There's a hot pepper there. It's all dried up. And the other little seeds that are in there are all spices that we use commercially when we're going to pickle or prepare corned beef or even pickles themselves. That's how it got the name. So there's the pepper I was talking to you about right there, very tiny. And the rest of that kind of looks like hamster food. So don't let that scare you. We're going to put that right into our water. And what you're actually going to have here is kind of a tea. You're going to cook this in the water, and that's going to make like a tea. You can see that's boiling there. And we're going to just throw some onion in there. Now, the ends of the onion are coming off, and they go right in there. And we're going to split this, and we're going to put some of the peels in there. And that one outside of that onion, because we're not going to waste any of that. Remember, all we're doing here is extracting the flavor from this onion. So you've wondered where all those ends and bits of onion go. Here it is. And we throw some more onion in there because we want enough of the onion in there for some flavor. So I'm going to throw a half of that in there. So I have that in there. We're going to put a little more water in there. And now we're going to go back to our shrimp, and I'm going to show you how we just split the skins. Now I'm going to get rid of the shells. They're going right in there now because I don't care if the shells get tough or not. There's a lot of flavor in the shell. Now we're going to take these shrimp, And if you have split them for breaded shrimp, what we're going, and you're familiar with it, we are not going to split the shrimp all the way. We're going to just go down the back of the shrimp, and we're going to just take that, just split that skin is all I want to do. We're probably going to go into this shrimp. I'll show you on a knife. If I show you this knife tip, get that turned, there we go, we can see that. This knife tip, right where my finger stops, is all the further in this knife is going in. So it's maybe 1/8 of an inch. And that's all I'm doing is splitting the back. You can't even see that it's split. And I'm going to just take that knife and just pull down on them a little bit. And you can either go from the tail end down, or you can go from the head end down till you hit that little bit of a tail shell. But I want to remind you of this. I'm not pushing at all. The knife is very sharp. My hand is up above the shrimp, so that if I do slip with the knife, all I'm going to have is one shrimp that's ruined. I'm not going to have to leave the kitchen for first aid. I can always go pick up another shrimp. And the idea with this is, since the shrimp, they call it the shrimp vein, the intestinal tract of the shrimp runs down the back end there, all we're doing is splitting that, and we're going to expose that to the shrimp water, and that's going to open that up, and we'll be able to, it'll just cook right out of it, and we're not going to have a problem with that. So these are the ones that I peeled up. Here's a bunch of them that aren't peeled. Not too many of them. I hate to work after they're cooked. That's enough. And now I'm going to just pick these up, and they're going to go right in. I'm going to leave one shrimp here on the board. We're going to come right back to him. These are going right in. And I'm going to just give that a stir. Now the onion turned clear in there, so I know I'm all set. The shrimp are in there, and as I showed you before, these shrimp are very small. The amount of meat that you're cooking is maybe 1/2 of an inch in thickness, so we're not looking for a whole lot of time here. And as quick as you put them in, I'll pick one out. As quick as I'm telling you, the back on this shrimp has already split right open from where I cut it. It's already wide open, and the color is already changing. So this shrimp has only been in here for not even a minute, and it opened. And I want to show you the raw one. I'm going to stay right over the pot. This one is the raw one, and you can see the difference how it opened up. Now I'm going to go back to the board and drive my cameraman crazy. The shrimp are in there cooking. If you want to do this by time, go right ahead. We've just started them, about a minute now. I didn't put paprika in there because we're going to watch the color of the shrimp. They're going to change. But I want you, when you're working with the shrimp, if it's the first time, pick the shrimp up, the raw shrimp, and give it a squeeze. You will find that you can squeeze that pretty hard. And that you can even squeeze that shrimp to where you break up the tissue of the shrimp. You can bust that all up, and it's not going to make any kind of a, it's not going to give. It might squish in your hand, but it's not going to give. And what we're going to do when those shrimp are just about ready, we're going to hold that shrimp like this, give it a little squeeze, and you're going to feel the shrimp meat is going to snap. See, I'm squeezing this raw shrimp, and it's not moving at all. It's just limp. It's not doing anything. So we squeeze that, nothing happens. Back it goes, over to the pot. And what I'm going to do is pull one out right now, because since this is boiling, it's too bad you're not here to get the smell of this. It's really quite good. Now, if you look at this shrimp, I'm holding it by the tail. You can see how it's curled up. This one is still holding nice and flat. This one is straight. This one's curled up. That is a very good indication to you that this shrimp is about done, just like lobster tail. The shrimp will kick back. This one is the raw shrimp. Keep one out so you know. The raw shrimp, nothing to it, back it goes. This one, see if you hold it this way, it springs back. Now, if you hold this shrimp the way I showed you earlier and you squeeze it, you'll feel that shrimp snap. That one just snapped. I'm turning off the fire. And these shrimp are finished. Now, the reason I tell you they're finished, if you have a very large batch of shrimp, by the time if you were to let them go to this point, they're going to be overdone by the time they cool down. But you're going to take these shrimp the way I have them here. And remember, we're not going to put water on them. Get my pan to cooperate. And I have a skimmer. And I'm going to just pick them up. And I'm just going to put them on a pan. Pick out a few more here. I have to be careful. I'm sure the shrimp are already counted by the camera crew and they're figuring how many they can have. There we go. Now, I want you to take a look at these shrimp when we come back. We're going to show you the difference between the ones that were in the shell and the ones that are out of the shell. And we're going to do something while you're gone. I'm going to do it while you're not here, but I'm telling you, so I'm not really doing it behind your back. What I'm going to do is all I'm going to do is pick out the shrimp, and I'm going to set them on a separate plate. So when you come back, this platter of shrimp that has the onion and everything in it, which, by the way, is the way to eat these hot, just like this, I'll have them picked out. And all I'm going to do is pick them out and let them cool for you. So while I'm doing all that dirty work in the heat of the kitchen, I'd like you folks at home to watch this.
The floral arrangements seen on the set of What's Cookin' are provided by the Cranberry Blossom Floral Company, 120 Hanover Street in Pemberton, New Jersey. The Cranberry Blossom Floral Company specializes in flowers for all occasions, including those special designs for parties and weddings. That's the Cranberry Blossom Floral Company, your FTD florist in Pemberton, New Jersey. Call area 609-894-8080.
Laughter should be the sound of childhood. Unfortunately for thousands of children across the nation, the laughter is silenced by abuse and neglect. In New Jersey, you can help dry an abused and neglected child's tears by supporting the Children's Trust Fund. All you have to do is check line 39C of your state income tax return. For more information in New Jersey, call 609-633-3992.
Welcome back, and as you can see, just as I promised, we have our shrimp picked out and they're laying on the pan and they're cooling off. And this is what they should look like when they're finished. They will be tightly curled, the ones that we have peeled, and the back of the shrimp will be opened up and will be nice and white. And we're going to let them cool just like that. The other shrimp that have the peels on them will not curl as tightly, and consequently they will also have a darker color to them from the shell. You'll see that right in there on the shell. And also inside, if you're going to serve these, you would have to peel these now and then split the back, and oh, it's just too much work. Don't even bother. Peel them first the way we did, and you're going to enjoy them much, much better. So I'm going to put these out of the way for right now, and we're going to show you how to prepare shrimp for fried shrimp or breaded shrimp that can be baked. And all you have to have for that are the shrimp, a standard breading procedure, saute pans or sheet pans or pie pans or a cookie pan, any kind of a flat pan if you're going to bake it. And all you have to do is split the shrimp. Now I have the rest of these peeled and we're going to show you how we split them. And after we have our shrimp split, we're going to pass them through the breading and then we're going to bake or fry them. So I want to show you what the standard breading procedure is. Those of you who have seen our program before are probably saying, here we go again, and that's really great because now I know you're starting to get a grip and you're learning what we're trying to get through to you. And remember, the standard breading procedure is very simple. All it is flour and egg wash and breadcrumb. Now you can change those any way you want, but try to keep the ingredients about the same. So what I have is my pan of flour right here in front of me. My next pan is eggs. All they are is beaten eggs. I'm going to add some milk to that, and that's going to make up our egg wash. Now you might be looking saying, yeah, I use evaporated milk, but I don't pass them through the flour first. Pass them through the flour first. You're going to find that not only will the crumbs stick better, but they're going to make the shrimp seem bigger. And it's also going to give you a better coating on the shrimp, which will better protect it if you're going to fry it, especially if you're going to fry it. So the eggs were beaten first, then we put some milk in there. How much milk you add and how thin you make it is entirely up to you. I like it to have a little more egg to it so that it will really coat those shrimp. The last thing are the breadcrumbs. Again, that's entirely up to you what type of breadcrumb you want to use. Today I have what's called a green crumb. Green breadcrumbs are nothing more than fresh bread that has been ground. If you don't have a blender, freeze the bread and grate it by hand. You'll get the same effect. You'll see how big these crumbs are. Now, to pass these shrimp through the breading, all we have to do is take our shrimp. This time we split the shrimp in half, all the way in half, just about, till it opens up, and we take out that vein part, the little dark part of the shrimp, get that up out of the way, and we're going to do a couple of these for you. If the tail's off, guess what? That's good. We're going to hold them for our last menu. So we take the insides out, and we just split them like that, and scrape them down, and then we're all set. Now, once you have them scraped down, we're going to go right from one pie pan to the other. So all we do is open that shrimp up, and normally we tell you have to keep one hand wet and one hand dry, but with the shrimp, just let one hand hold on to the tail, because all you're going to do is pat the dry ingredients onto the shrimp. We shake them right off. We just flip it, sort of like a dip and a flip here. There we go. Drain that a little bit and right into our green crumb, and we press them onto the shrimp. Shake them off, and wait till you see the size of that. I'm going to put one in there that we didn't do. Look at the difference right there on that pie pan. You can see how much larger you can make the shrimp. Now we're going to do one more for you so you get the idea, because this is really very, very simple. All you have to do is put it in the flour, shake off the excess flour, dip it into the egg, flip it over, let it drain just a little bit, right into the breadcrumb, and press it. And remember, you can put these on a sprayed pie pan and bake them right in the oven, just the way we showed you how to do the pork chops. You don't have to have the oil, the fryer, the mess. Now we'll go to our next menu, which is the one I'm really excited about, and I really want you to learn. It's shrimp scampi. Shrimp scampi is really a misnomer in that when we say shrimp scampi, we're really saying shrimp, because scampi is a term for very large shrimp. They're, compared to shrimp, they're really gigantic. And all you really have to make shrimp scampi is the shrimp, some onion. You don't even have to have tomato to really make real scampi, but most of us like the tomato in it. Some mushrooms, white wine, oil, salt, and pepper, and we're going to serve this over some cooked rice. Now, what we're going to do with all of that is very simple. We're going to take our shrimp, and they have to be peeled, because this is a dish that we are going to eat hot. So, as I said, we don't want to be peeling shrimp at the table. So while I'm telling you this, I'm pulling the tails off of these little guys. All we're going to do, some can be split. It's entirely up to you. We need some hot oil in a saute pan, garlic, and we're going to throw all those ingredients in there. And when the shrimp are done, then we're going to finish it with some tomato and wine. So if you move right on over here to my frying pan, which is slightly warmed up, I'm going to put a little oil to that. Use fresh garlic whenever you can. I know you hear that all the time. Take a bulb of garlic, wrap it in a towel, beat it up with your big knife, a little more than that. And when you open it up, the garlic will fall out of the shell. Now, if the garlic is just broken up and doesn't fall out of the shell, take your knife, lay the garlic flat, and smack it with the handle. Since you're going to chop up the garlic anyway, once you really bust that up, it's going to just pop right out, just the way I'm showing you. We do this with mirrors, but not the kind that are going to make this too difficult for you to see. So, there's our garlic. There's my shrimp. There's my hot saute pan. Remember, whenever it's a saute item, it's going to go very quick. Here's the mushroom. Here's the wine, because I'm letting that pan catch up to me. Here's the tomato. And we're gonna cut this into a couple little chunks. This is a nice, fresh dish. So there's the tomato. There's the shrimp. Let's throw a few more in there. This is very good for the broken shrimp. I broke a couple, so they're in here for our scampi. There's the ones that are peeled and split. There's the one that's not. Okay, we're all set. All I have to do now is cut our garlic. So on the board, I have that broken up garlic. I'm pouring a little oil down to give me a little puddle to keep the garlic cloves in, and we just cut them up. Now, the oil is going to keep that garlic from sticking to the knife. If we didn't have it, it would be all up and down the knife. Okay, if I can direct your attention to the saute pan, ladies and gentlemen, in goes the garlic. And keep an eye on that, because as you hear, that is hot. And we're going to do nothing more than watch that garlic, because as soon as that garlic turns color, we're going to put a little bit of the onion to it. Now you can hear me cutting the onion. There, it's ready. The garlic, we're rolling that around. Just that quick. You see it turn brown right before us? We put the onion in. That stops that from cooking. We toss the shrimp in. Remember, they're a ½ inch. They cook very quickly. My director is saying, thank goodness. Salt and pepper, a little bit of parsley. We give them a toss. You can see the shrimp are curling up. They're changing color. We're going to put in the mushroom. I'm going to turn them over on top of the mushroom. We're going to put a little wine to this. And in goes the tomato. We give that a toss. This is great. They're all but done. So now we're going to plate up our shrimp for you, and what we have. If you're going to use them as an appetizer, these are great. They're already peeled. They're all set to go. These are nice when they're served on a little mound of cracked ice. And our scampi is very nice when we put that on a bed of rice. And I have some rice that is left over. All this is some wild grain and wild and brown rice. And here's our scampi. And I spread that out, and we just put that down the middle. Turn that upside down. Now this is very quick, very fresh, very easy for you to do. So now you're saying, gee, what's the recipe for that? So let me review these for you. Our first one was shrimp cocktail, and all we had was water, salt, vinegar, onion, pickling spice, and some pepper, and we made sort of a tea. We split and peeled the shrimp. Some we left the way they are, and we covered them with water and added all of our ingredients. The next one that we did was breaded shrimp, and they're very simple. All we needed is the shrimp and a standard breading procedure. We passed them through there, and they can either be sauteed or baked. And our last one is our sauteed dish, which is shrimp scampi. And the shrimp scampi, we used fresh garlic, onion, tomato, mushrooms, white wine, oil, salt, and pepper. And we put that over some cooked rice today. And all you had to have was the sauteed pan nice and hot. And just like all of our sauteed dishes, the peeled shrimp go right in, toss them around, brown the garlic. Look how nice these look. And I'm going to tell you, if you've never had shrimp, try them the way I showed you today, because they're going to be absolutely delicious. Thank you for watching.